Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olson, the Tolkien Professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who's just sitting here chatting with Gandalf, of course, like you do. And, which, of course, the fact that he's standing and talking with Gandalf and we're able to see him from this point of view leads me to appreciate my new cosmetic outfit that I just gained in the last episode. What is it? The Arnorian tree stuff? No, wait. My jacket. No, that's my helmet. Yeah, here we go. My jacket of the Arnorian mercy. Right. But even more, I have to appreciate my leggings of the Arnorian tree, which appear to be transparent. Right. So this seems to confirm a rumor first started by, I believe, the brothers Hildebrand back in the 70s, that in Gondor they wear no pants. And that seems to be the case, that the Gondorian pants are no pants, apparently, as Gryfflet is sporting the boots and bare legs look under his new tunic, which, given his snappy short sleeve look of his new tunic, of his new jacket of mercy, I think is Hologro, exactly. I think that Bakshi was channeling the same thing, exactly. So Gryfflet is, now that he has been fully, or almost fully, everything but his cloak, decked out in his new Arnorian cosmetics that he has received during his Minas Tirith travels here, he's ready to audition for a Bakshi film role. So there we go. Anyway, off we go. Today we're gonna see if we can finish Minas Tirith today, and get to the Bride of the Rohirrim and a new area next time. We'll see. I'm not sure how possible that is, but we'll continue the epic quest line. No, that's not what I need. Let's talk, Gandalf.
Let us go to the old archives and speak on the way.
Okay. You may begin the tale of your experience on Osgiliath as we walk, and perhaps I will have heard its full extent by the time we have arrived. We must not spend too long poring over old scrolls when battle is so close upon us, but my heart tells me that there is something we have overlooked, some detail that may be of use to us in the days ahead. We must know what this thing may be. Okay. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Oh, why is Gandalf called Mithrandir in here?
Fills me with a dread I cannot explain.
Hang on.
I hope to learn why here in the old archives.
Okay, let's see in the old archives what we learn. Because he's called that in Gondor. So, yeah, exactly. So he's called Mithrandir. This is an acknowledgement of the fact that down here in Gondor he's always called Mithrandir by it's his Sindarin name. So yeah, that's consistent in the text. Everybody in Gondor refers to him as Mithrandir, and so the game is sort of acknowledging that when he's here. We might still think of him as Gandalf. The conversational cues still call him Gandalf, but he's labeled Mithrandir appropriately. Yeah. Grey Pilgrim. It's translated in some places, but that's a relatively poetic translation. Grey Wanderer is more literal. Yeah. Okay. All right, Gandalf. Let's do it. Welcome to the old archives, Gryfflet. They were carved into the pure rock in the center of the Sage's Neath when the city was still called the Tower of the Sun. This was the original library and storehouse of the city, and it remains a trove of ancient knowledge and secrets. There is much to discover in the scrolls and books that are here kept, but few in these days give much thought to these dusty shelves. There is no semblance of order to be found. It was in these dark chambers that I found the Scroll of the Isildur, and learned much that I needed to know. So, I really love the concept of this quest, right? Of course, the scene that he's alluding to here is the one, that we should be thinking of as soon as we go with Gandalf to the old archives. Of course, this is a really fun way in which Lotro can not, have us go back and do a flashback with Gandalf, right? We don't need like a Gandalf session play going to, find the Scroll of Isildur. Not saying I'd object, but we don't really need one. What we get here is this, like the opportunity to do a little library crawl with Gandalf and see the old archives, with him, to kind of recapitulate that moment in some sense, I think is a fun addition. I'm worried about the commander, Eumenenos Gileath. But don't I know who he is? Like, I don't understand why Gandalf is talking like it's a mystery. Gothmog the Dread Terror. Yeah, but, pretty sure I've met him. Right. He claims to be Mordirith, reclaimed from the void. Right. Who revealed himself before the end to be... But neither of those is his true name. Right. Exactly. As he told me the last time I met him when I thought I killed him. Yeah, that's exactly right. His name was His name was Eärnur, and he was the last king of Gondor. Eärnur was mighty, and he did not lack for courage, but he possessed none of the caution that could have saved him from doom. He had great victory at Fornost, when he defeated the Witch King of Angmar, but that victory stirred his pride to great heights. The Witch King fled. Prince Eärnur believed he had nearly rid Middle-earth of that terrible foe, and cursed his failure to end it there. Years later, the Witch King issued a challenge to Eärnur, now the King of Gondor, and summoned him to Minas Morgul. Eärnur went to that dark city to face his hated foe and was lost. We know now that his will was mastered, and he became the loyal servant of his former enemy. He took a new name, Mordirith, and was given the rule of Angmar while the Witch King managed the interests of Mordor elsewhere in Middle-earth. Through your own efforts and those of the Rangers and the champions of Angmar, he was defeated. But it seems that victory was not to last. He maintained some bond to his former life, and it allowed his Dark Master to draw him back before he was lost for good. Okay, well, that's not a detailed explanation of why he's still around, but I'll allow it, Gandalf. So what's the mystery? Search in this chamber for mention of Eärnur, and I will search the other. What are we looking for, Gandalf? I don't know, but okay. But this is fun. Hang on. All right. Let's look through all the old scrolls. No, nothing relevant here. Let's see, perusing these scrolls, just kind of jumbled about. A yellowed scroll that bears Eärnur's name many times throughout. Hey Gandalf, I found a Eärnur scroll. You had better fortune than I did, Gryfflet, for I have yet to find anything. Let me see this scroll. Mithrandir takes it from you and quickly reads the yellowed parchment. After a moment, he looks up at you again. There are matters of interest in this scroll. It speaks of not one challenge, but two, a detail of which I was not aware. It appears that the Witch King challenged Eärnur to ride forth, and the king was dissuaded from that foolishness by his steward, a wise man named Mardil. That name I do know, for he would become the first of the ruling stewards when Eärnur disappeared into Minas Morgul. It is from his line that Denethor draws his authority. Oh, this is fun. So, you see what they're doing here. The first challenge, the two challenges are both mentioned in Appendix A of the text. He's challenged the first time, Mardil stops him. He's challenged the second time, even more cuttingly and mockingly, as he's getting older. Eärnur is getting older, and the second time Mardil is unable to dissuade him. So this is, as I say, this is really cool, because what they're doing here is they're indicating that this scroll that we just found is the source of that mention in Appendix A. which, according to what is implied in the prologue of The Lord of the Rings, Appendix A was compiled from, research done by Pippin and Merry in Minas Tirith and in Rohan, respectively. So they have just very sort of quietly and subtly, on this one relatively minor point, basically made the archival research we just did be the source for, like, a couple sentences in we just were the direct source for a couple sentences in Appendix A. And that's pretty cool. I love that. I love that reference. Eärnur did not ride to Minas Morgul alone. Okay. He was accompanied by a retinue of knights, and they disappeared with him. Some of these men you may have seen before, transformed into Cargul. Ah, yeah, the red dudes. Sure. This scroll bears their names: Orolong and Kalatur, Silmatar and Makilnis. I cannot match these names with their fates. I thought you said they became Cargul. These names are not familiar to me, but I do have a dim recollection that a man named Orolong may have committed some heroic deed at the Battle of Fornost. It is the barest hint of a memory, but I have not even that for these others. Makilnis is a common name among the women of Gondor. None of the histories I have seen include any women in the retinue of Eärnur's knights, but this scroll appears genuine to me, and I have no reason to doubt it. Some of Eärnur's knights have returned to trouble Middle-earth as Cargul, but the power he wielded as Mordirith seems more deadly than theirs. We should expect he will be more powerful still in his guise as Gothmog. And yet, somewhere behind these masks, does any of Eärnur remain? He was bold but foolish. Can it be that Gothmog will be the same? Search this chamber for more mention of Eärnur, and I will search the other. Okay. Hologrow, you're suggesting that, oh, hang on. No? Okay. It avails me little. I am little availed. You're suggesting that when we get to Mordor, some of these names are going to turn out relevant? You unroll a number of the old scrolls, but nothing catches your eye. Alright. Let's move on to codices. No. I guess the codices are in worse shape than the scrolls? Or later than Mordor. Ah, okay. Oh, hang on. Found a dusty tome. Gandalf, found a dusty tome. You found something else? Ah, yes. This book contains charts describing the passage of succession through the line of kings, and then through the line of the ruling stewards. Do you see? Here is Mardel, the first of the stewards, who ruled Gondor after Eärnur was taken into the darkness of Minas Morgul. Mardel swore an oath to rule only until the king returned, and each ruling steward has made the same vow. Mithrandir looks around furtively, ensuring that you are alone. When he is satisfied that you are alone in the archives, he continues. Perhaps at one time the stewards believed the line of kings would return, but that possibility must now seem quite unlikely. We should not speak of it, even here. But there is one on his way to Minas Tirith who will remind Denethor of his vow. The king may very well return to Gondor, and the rule of the stewards will no longer be necessary. Until the king returns. Oh dear. Uh-oh. What's wrong, Gandalf? Uh-oh, we're pacing. What? Of Aragorn returning? But I fear that we may have overlooked a crucial detail. Uh-oh. What's the problem? We're pacing, Gandalf. What's up? Our mutual friend approaches the city in the company of his Dunedain kin. Right? Yeah? Been telling people about that. If Gondor survives the war to come, he will claim the kingship. He will trace his line back through the years to Isildur. Right? But what if someone else seeks to claim that right? Oh, you think Eärnur is going to claim the throne? Oh, yeah. Right. He is descended from Anarion, brother of Isildur, in unbroken succession. But can you inherit after you're dead? If he can prove he is Eärnur, his claim to the throne is stronger than Aragorn's. Well, in that he still is king, we must prevent it, Gryfflet. We must prevent the return of this king. Oh, interesting. How can he not be dead yet, Drow Snake? I mean, we personally killed him, even if he hadn't been killed before. He got better. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I will add, it's, I mean, this is a really fun angle. I mean, I kind of like this, but again, it seems a little improbable. I know, like, I love the Eärnur thing. Like, that's awesome. Like, the reveal of that at the end of the quest line, you know, the original Angmar quest line, so cool. Like, I love it. Love it. Love everything about it. But he's certainly dead. I mean, like, he's certainly dead. Whatever kind of wraithification process he's undergone has to have reached a fairly critical state by this time if he's still about the place, right? I mean, his mortal life would have long since passed, and he doesn't have a ring of power, right? Rings of power can, you know, do the butter and bread thing, right? You know, like a ring of power will scrape your the butter of your life over a very, you know, a functionally indefinite quantity of bread, leaving you very thin and stretched indeed, in the case of the ring wraiths, right? And yet, certainly, it's true that the ring wraiths are not themselves like undead creatures. They are living creatures whose life has been very attenuated, right? But that wouldn't have happened to Eärnur. I mean, even if he were wraithified in some way, right? Like Frodo was on the verge of wraithification from his Morgul wound, right? That's the model for the whole thing, the whole Cargul thing, right, in Lotro. And yet, how could his wound have actually given him long life? You know, indefinitely extended his life. That's less clear, I think. A good deal less clear. What I'm saying is, one way or the other, I think that, like, Eärnur is a goner. But that's okay. Let's go. Yes, he had one life. What about second life? He's got to be on at least number 3 by now, right? Maybe that's the quest line. Maybe it turns out that, like, the real scandal is that King Eärnur was actually a cat, and I've got to kill him 9 times. Okay. We should leave this place. It is no longer as comfortable or as familiar as it once was. Oh, what, the upholstery has really faded out over the years, Gandalf, has it? Right, Edith says, I feel like at some point, somebody or other, says that Sauron brings him back after we defeat him the first time. Yeah. Right. You know, and Gandalf just implied that too. But that very implication suggests that he's not still alive, right? That his spirit in some way has been ensnared, right? So that after he's killed, as we in fact personally killed him at the end of the Angmar questline, leads to, like, you know, the separation of his body and spirit, but that his spirit, his Fea, is being, you know, enslaved or controlled in some way, right? But I'm pretty sure, you know, So Drowsneck, we're gonna get more on the longevity of Gothmog later. Okay, well I will. It's just my obvious question. That's all, and it's fine. I'm here for it. I am ready, and I agree with oh, who was it saying this? Yeah, Kendall. I agree with Kendall that you know, we need to have a courtroom drama on this point, right? You know, can a formerly dead king whose spirit has somehow been ensnared and forced to remain in Middle-earth inherit, right? Like, does in fact death disqualify you from future inheritance, right? I mean, it's clearly an important legal precedent with really sweeping implications. You don't get notoriety as the necromancer by collecting bottle caps, Phil. Excellent. Is that a Dresden quote? I'm pretty sure that's a Dresden quote. You don't get to be the Merlin of the White Council by collecting bottle caps. Yeah. Anyway.
I feared it might be so.
Right, endurance fire, I agree. Is it really inheritance if you're the incumbent? Exactly. Like, yeah, he wouldn't even have to be like, you know, you should make me king. He's like, by the way, still king around here, right? Been king for centuries. Thank you very much. Yeah. Can you raise your right hand to swear an oath in court if you don't have a corporeal form? I mean, let's just say there's a lot of avenues for legal attack against his position. That's all. That's all I would say. Okay. Anyway, all right. We must keep each other's confidence on this matter and tell no one of the true nature of Gothmog's lineage. No good can come of it, for Gondor or for this Middle-earth. I do thank you for your tale, Gryfflet, though it be unpleasant and worrisome. Better to know and prepare than to be taken unawares. For now there is a city to defend. We must set our will to its defense, and let all other matters fade into the background. They are lesser matters for as long as the gate and the men defending it stand strong. May that be a long time. May that be long enough. Alright. Well, who do I do now? Talk to Imrahil. Okay. Can do. Yep. Gothmog v. Kingdom of Gondor. Yep. Agreed. Oh, it's still walking. That'll never do. Okay, where am I? No, seriously, where am I? Oh. Right, here I am. Okay. Right, here we go. Excuse me, Barathant. You're not Barathant, but you're a Knight of Dol Amroth, so I'm going to call you Barathant ceremoniously. Okay, Imrahil, sorry to get in your personal space. Do like your swan belt buckle, though. It's pretty cool. Okay, Imrahil.
It will not be long before the city is surrounded. I hope we are ready.
I hope you're ready too, Imrahil. But he stares at me appraisingly. I have a message for you, Gryfflet. I received word that Ormatar, the captain of the Citadel, has been looking for you. You should speak with him in the Citadel without delay, for that can mean only one thing. Go to Ormatar with haste. You're not going to tell me the one thing? Go to the Citadel. Oh, wait. Sorry, I just realized I was thinking of the Dome of the Sun. The Citadel. Like, at the top. Like, back right where I just was, before you made me come down here to be told that. Gotcha. No problem. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical necromantic ceremony. Yeah, I agree, Edith. Hard to disagree. Okay. All right. Is that, you know, so Edith, you think that should be part of the opening arguments, you know, for the defense attorney in Gothmog v. Kingdom of Gondor? All right. So, I'm not like... Oh, here we go. Right. Yeah, this dude standing around. Hey, Ormitor. What's up? You were Gryfflet the burglar?
The steward has summoned you.
Ooh.
Peregrine the halfling will bring you before the steward.
Great. You and he... Right. Surely you know Peregrine the halfling. You and he must hail from the same far-off land, unless I greatly miss my mark. Lord Denethor has named him a guard of the citadel. He will bring you before the steward. Oh, wonderful. Okay, Pippin. Pippin was gone before. I was just looking for him before I started. All right, Pippin. You're going to escort me in? How delightful.
I will bring you before the steward. Keep your wits about you.
Right. He has a somewhat frightening countenance. He is a great man of importance, I don't doubt it, but he is very stern and does not go out of his way to cushion the effect of his words. Okay. All right.
There is much to do, and now I hear the steward has summoned my friend for an audience. Time-wasting rubbish.
Tell us what you really think, Gandalf. Okay. Okay. This is the Tower Hall, Gryfflet. Do not tell anyone, but the steward makes me nervous. I will show you where to go and then return to my posting outside. Glad he does not need me at the moment. Ooh, we're running. Right, the claws at the bottom of the columns are really interesting. And, like, kind of creepy. Huh? Thanks, Pippin. Okay, our first look at Denethor. Nice. Love the fact that they make him not very old looking. That's really interesting. You can see the gray in his beard. He is described as like an old man, but looking like he's old before his time in the book. So he's a little more robust than is described in the book, but that... Yeah, he's got his armor on under his robes, right? That's right. Okay, excuse me. Denethor, you don't mind if I look around a little bit, do you? Seriously, what are those claws supposed to be? Who thought that was a good idea? I mean, like, what Gondorian architect? And there are more claws at the top? Huh. There's the little steward chair. We've got a little cushion on it. No, it's on it. It's on his chair. Oh, it's the cloven halves of Boromir's horn. Oh, I thought it was a cushion. No, look at that. Yep, it's Boromir's horn. Okay. Wow. And then we've got the throne of Gondor. Ooh, love how the swan wings seem to be holding up the crown of the king above the seat. That's pretty cool. Downward pointing star on the crown. Excellent. Good to see that, of course, the Gondorians would still remember their Númenorian iconography. The seat is very modest, though. I mean, on Lotro scales. like, you know, Lotro thrones tend to be grandiose, and this is less grandiose. That does not look like the most comfortable seat to sit on, I gotta tell you. Huh. Okay. Okay. All right. Denethor.
Imrahil told me you were with my son when he fell before the city, Gryfflet.
Sorry. Reading Denethor is reminding me of when I was hosting the Prancing Pony podcast with Alan Sisto last fall, and we got to this scene when we meet Denethor for the first time, and he was trying to decide, you know, Alan Sisto is a great voice actor, and he was trying to decide like what voice to do Denethor in, and he kept accidentally slipping into an RFK impression when he was doing Denethor. That was really funny. And then of course, like, he kind of leaned into it and like read Denethor's lines in a full RFK impression, which was really funny. Something about Denethor's lines being read in a Kennedy Boston accent was really funny. Anyway, okay, sorry.
Imrahil told me you were with my son when he fell before the city, Gryfflet. Would that you had drawn his foes away, or put yourself between his horse and the wraiths. He fights still, but it is an unnatural wound. It saps his strength, and his body is wasting away. My son!
Denethor's voice breaks, and his eye is drawn back to Faramir's bed. Whew! Did I miss Faramir's bed? Oh, it's like right behind him! Holy cow, I saw that. I thought it was like his desk or something. There's poor Faramir lying in it. Good grief. That's what you get for being distracted by the architecture, I suppose. Yikes. Sorry, Phil. Yeah, American historical figure. Yeah, the other Kennedy, John Kennedy's brother, who was also assassinated. Anyway, okay. Right. Eyes drawn back to Faramir's bed. He shakes his head, and when he speaks again, his voice is full of iron and his fists are clenched.
Do you know what it is like to live so near to Mordor, Gryfflet? Do you know what it is like to stand on the wall of your city and see flames on the horizon, knowing that they signal some terrible work of evil? Do you know what it is to be always in the thought of creatures so vile and so terrible that even death cannot master them? I know what it is like, burglar. Every morning I wake up knowing it, and every evening I retire to my chamber knowing it, and in the darkest reaches of the night I wake from troubled dreams knowing it. I have struggled long with this knowledge, and I struggle still, though my sons and heirs be taken from me. I struggle for my people. You would show me something. Really? Woo! Secret chamber high in the tower. So, for the purpose of this instance, I'm not even going to ask the question of why Denethor would show me this, because I can't imagine that he would bring me up to show me the Palantir that he is, you know, that he's concealing from everybody else, including Gandalf. But it's okay. I am here for this questline. Oh man, yeah. Got the windows just like the ones in Innuminous. Love it. Love it. Right, those are Innuminous windows, right? Pretty sure. I remember those from like Elendil's throne room in Innuminous. Love the sounds. Okay. No one comes to this chamber without my leave, Gryfflet, and I grant that sparingly. When I look at you, I see a student of Mithrandir. The wizard has been a friend to Gondor so far, but he does not have the full measure of my trust. Why should he possess it? He is not of this land, and if the battle turns ill, he will simply leave it, leaving my people to suffer and die. I am not without weapons, Gryfflet. I brought you here so you will see that I still fight the enemy, though none appreciate the battle I wage within this high chamber. This is a seeing stone, an heirloom of the kings of old. I have turned it to my will.
Okay, but there are certain risks. Did you...
Look deep within the stone, as I have done. Will you see what I have seen?
Did you read the terms and conditions, like, really carefully? Okay. Sure. Now, theoretically, if I look from over here, Denethor, I won't see what you saw. The Anor Stone. Yeah. The Anor Stone. Sorry, not the Arnor Stone. That would be quite different. The Anor Stone. Right. Yeah, no, I don't think anything could go wrong. Let's do it! I love the tiptoes. Staring into the stone. Uh-huh. Okay, what do we see? Hi, Sauron! No, that's not it. Okay. Oh. Oh, dear. Oh, Denethor is going to give me a wraithly tour. Ooh, the glowing red. All right, armies of Morgul gathering. We've got a lot of my friends here. What do you think, Denethor?
The forces of Mordor fill Osgiliath and spill into the plain.
Right. And their siege engines and weapons of war eagerly follow. The forces arrayed against us are vast, and they hunger for our destruction. Right. Yeah. It's like a pretty serious situation. I totally agree. Oh, Talathanor. Let's see, where are we? Oh, up by the... I didn't even come up here because I was trying to avoid it because I didn't want spoilers, Denethor. But, you know, now that you're with me, I'm ready. What do we think?
Hirgon, errand rider of Gondor, he is slain.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah, look, there's a corpse. See, sorry, I was looking at the ruins on the horizon, as is my wont, and overlooked the corpse at my feet. Right. Yeah, and he's got no head, right? But he's still got the red arrow in his hand. Yeah, all right, okay. Very good, very good. Okay. Okay, yeah. No one is coming to help us. Well, but what direction is he facing? Like, it's a little unclear. Did he never get there, Denethor? Are we sure of this?
Will not come to Rohan. We are alone.
Yeah, but, again, that seems a rash conclusion, honestly. Cirith Ungol. Oh, the drought theory. Yes. Well, it's not necessarily his theory, but I've heard him articulate it many times. That is pointing out the timing that the thing that drove Denethor to final despair, after he learns from Gandalf that the ring has been sent into Mordor. Afterwards, he goes up into his tower and he looks into the Palantir again. And the day that he does that is exactly the day on which Frodo is being held in the tower of Minas Morgul, or not Minas Morgul, sorry, of Cirith Ungol. You know, they're like naked with no ring, right? And so, you know, I've often heard Drought say that, you know, I think it's a very convincing theory that that's what Denethor sees, and that's the thing that leads him to say that, you know, Gandalf's hope is but ignorance. So really, really cool that they seem to have included this. Oh, hang on, this is like a not suitable for work image of Frodo here. Okay. But like lore accurate NSFW Frodo image there. Yeah, Drosnik doesn't say so in the text explicitly. It doesn't say so in the text. And so it's easy to miss that timing. But yeah. It's certainly an idea, which again, the timing all works out, and many of Denethor's words are very consistent with that. But yeah, it's not stated in the text at all.
No. Mithrandir's lackey is held captive.
His lackey. Mithrandir does not share his mind with me, but I know of the dream that came to my sons, the dream that tried to ensnare Faramir but stole Boromir instead. This must be the halfling, captured by the enemy and held in his tower. We are undone by the folly of Mithrandir. I on the one hand, I can understand where you're kind of coming from there.
My
I mean,
greatest fear comes to pass.
right.
Isildur's bane, taken by the enemy.
Not unreasonable conclusion to draw from this, admittedly. Oh, I love the trapdoor. We're standing right near it there. Sure, this very understandable conclusion you're jumping to here, Denethor. I really do get it. I'm supposed to examine the captive hobbit? This is a much fancier room than I'd always pictured it. Captured halfling. It is Frodo. Oh, man. Slowly your mind clears and you shake the visions from your sight. Oh man, now look at the Palantir, blazing with the flames of Mordor. Whoa. Did it get like foggy in here, Denethor, or is that just me? I have seen a great deal in the Seeing Stone, burglar, but these terrible visions fill me with dread as never before. You have seen what I saw in the stone. Húrin and the Red Arrow did not make it to Rohan, and the foolish one Mithrandir sent to Mordor is a captive in Cirith Ungol. Yes, I know of that errand, and I know it has failed. Whatever that fool brought with him is now gone, and if it is the weapon I perceive, it will not matter if the gates of Minas Tirith last 5 minutes or 5 hours, the end will come. Listen to my words. Hear what I say, and tremble at the truth in them. There can be no turning back from this doom. It comes even now. Awesome. So, yeah, so Druid's Fire, right. If the enemy had the ring, he'd be Rolf stomping Gondor at this point. Right. Yeah, well, but he is. Right? I mean, so, yeah. First of all, what exactly it would look like if Sauron got the ring back is not clear. Like, would it look like instant apocalypse? I don't think so. Sauron would be a great deal stronger, irresistibly strong, in fact, and with the power of his ring, his power to dominate the wills of others would be enormously amplified. And so he'd be able to wield that to even greater effect. Remember what he's done, that is, in gaining the loyalty and dominating the wills, to some extent at least, of his armies from Rhûn and Harad, his control over the orcs. All of this is being done with one hand tied behind his metaphysical back, right? So he would be very much more powerful. Does it mean that there would be like a sort of nuclear shadow fallout, right? That he would instantly kind of blitz them magically from afar? No, I don't believe it would. So what it would look like, or at the very least, what would be very logical for Denethor to assume, is that Sauron's recovering the ring would mean that immediately upon his recovery of the ring, irresistible armies from Mordor would sweep across the land, which tracks. Kind of looks like that, right, from where Denethor is standing right now, right? So what Denethor is seeing, remember the timing. This is important, right? Again, the things that's fun about what they're showing with in the Palantir there is that the timing is all very plausible. Like, it kind of does look like Húrin didn't make it at all. That's not an unreasonable conclusion. And more importantly, the timing, right? Remember that the army leaves Minas Morgul, right? The army leaves to invade right at the time when Frodo gets there. And so the timing looks very plausible to Denethor. Denethor has good reason to think it's a mistake by a matter of hours, right? But he has reason to think that the armies of Mordor were launched when Sauron took Frodo captive. He sees Frodo captive, doesn't know exactly when he was captured. But, even if he does know to within 12 hours or so, he could still be wrong. Like, it's still within that error range, right? So, that is the timing of the capture of Frodo versus the launch of the armies. So yeah, I think it seems very logical in that way. Like, what he's seeing, that is armies of Mordor sweeping across the land, inexorably closing in to destroy Gondor, is exactly what he would expect to see if the enemy got the ring again. So everything he would see would appear to be confirmation. That seems to me really to track. Oh, man. Listen to my words. Hear them and know they are true, for the doom of Gondor is at hand. Okay. Where are we? Where did I just port to? Oh, it's Minas Tirith on fire. Okay, that was sudden.
So the Anor Stone remained in the tower. I wondered if it was so.
The armies of Mordor have encircled the city. The siege has begun. You tell Mithrandir that you spoke with the steward, and that Denethor spoke to you of many things that he saw within the depths of a Palantir. At that, Mithrandir looks up sharply. So the Anor Stone did remain within the tower? I wondered if it was so. Denethor has had a stubborn and strong will for all the years of his life, but if he seeks to gain some advantage over the enemy by using the Palantir, the wizard scowls and shakes his head. Denethor was too occupied with his grief for Faramir to work any evil on that score, but he will also be of no use in the defense of the city. Imrahil and I will mount the defense, and we will need your help. All right. Sure. I've already got
There is no more leaving the city. Minas Tirith is surrounded.
Okay. The Morgul host has surrounded Minas Tirith, and the Pelennor is filled with their weapons of war. They have not yet broken the gate, but there is still much harm they can cause, even from their position beyond the walls. You must do what you can to help the city's defenders. The Council of Gondor is in disarray. Go to the Dome of the Sun and learn what you can do to help them communicate their resolutions. Lamlor, the Captain of Tidings, will need help to send messages throughout Minas Tirith. Ingold is atop the wall in the north end of the third circle, and will need your help to manage his fear and the fears of the men behind the walls. Terror will be the greatest foe of our guardsmen, and they will need to master it if they are to mount an effective defense. The armies of Gondor have been using catapults and other siege weapons to launch burning stones over the walls into the city. Find Rathon, Warden of the Wells, in the 6th Circle near the streets that lead up to the citadel, and help him extinguish some of the fires before they can spread.
Okay. Alright, this is what we've trained for. Running around Minas Tirith. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Alright. I will head over there the old-fashioned way. Okay. Uh-oh. It's like a big fire over here. No? Oh, that's just a little explosion, but it's gone now. Okay, okay. So, we're on the 2nd circle? Yeah, we're on the soldier's tier. And there's the ramp. Of course, a lot of my landmarks look different, like 'cause some of the people standing around were my landmarks. Oh, this guy's still reading a book, though. Okay, it's fine. He's probably doing critical research that might lead to some, advantage in battle. Okay, lots of flames. Oh, look out! Whoa! That's headed right. Woof! That was close. Alright. Up this way? Which one of them is up here? Ingold. Right. Okay. Let's go find friend Ingold. And he's on the wall. So let's see. Where are we? Craftsman's tier? It's okay, man. No need to cower. Well, there kind of is need to cower, but you shouldn't. Even if there be a need. Okay. How are things on the north? More OS on fire. Oh, okay. Here comes another one. Look out. That's woof. Man, they come really close to us. Oh, hey there. Ingold. Story.
An icy chill grips my heart.
Understood. And it takes all of my strength to stand here at the wall. My heart quails and would have me fly from my post in terror. Ingold lowers his voice and speaks in hushed tones. The enemy has catapulted vile ammunition into the city. Heads they have taken from soldiers caught outside the walls, in the Pelennor and Talathanor. The barrage has caused men to cast down their weapons, fleeing from the sight of friends and family returned in this horrible fashion. I am not immune to this weapon of Mordor. I have recognized faces in that terrible rain. It was the fate of Barathant, Gryfflet, and I wept to see it. Oh man, you found Barathant's head? That's really sad. Can you gather up the weapons and shields that were dropped by frightened men as they fled their stations? We need that equipment and those men if we are to stand against the armies of Mordor. Okay. Oh, man. You got stuff all over the place here. Got abandoned weapons. My arms are going to be just full of equipment here. Alright. You could help, but Ingold, but it's fine. Like, I get it, right? Trauma. Yeah, look, it's tough.
It's tough. I understand. Yeah. No, Phil, I mean, look, Gryfflet's capacity for carrying things, ever since he carried that whole statue of Elendil in his pocket, you know, back in Evendim, I just, nothing can surprise me anymore.
I do not blame them for running, but we need them to master their fear.
It's so true. Evil are the sights of war, but this is worse than even a hardened soldier of Gondor would expect. We must not give up hope. If the men who ran do not return and fight, they will prove great allies to the foes outside the city. Only by returning to their posts and facing their fears can they strike a blow against such evil. Find the men who ran, Gryfflet. Tell them to return. We need every soldier of Gondor to master his fear and stand against the host of Mordor, or all is already lost. Okay, I think I saw some frightened soldiers down here, so let me start here. Ingold. Maybe I can arm them again. Hello, frightened soldiers. So, that's right. I remember seeing you, cowering man. Yes. Strong work. There was another dude. Yeah. Here we go. That was him. Speaking convincing words. It's good. The progress bars are some of my favorite parts of all of Lotro, actually. Gryfflet's been doing a lot of, like... Oh, no, not the expert woodworker. Oh, so that didn't work out. Oh, so I don't get credit for him if he doesn't actually go back? I've got... Gryfflet has a mixed success rating. That's right. Don't give in to fear any longer, dude. Didn't I already talk to you? Oh, come on. They keep popping up. Can I convince you, sir? Yes, you can stand against such evil. Oh, come on. Give it a shot. Gryfflet's closing percentage is not great. There could be no victory for us. Oh, man. Expert woodworker, how about you? Hooray! Phew. Okay. Let's try again. I don't remember ever seeing NPCs spawn like this. That's right. Don't give in to fear any longer. Right? I mean, I can't remember a single time that I've gone around and they've just respawned like this. It's weird. I mean, cool. I'm glad not to have to run all around. That's right. Do not flee again. Excellent. Good has been done here. There we go. Look, I convinced all these chaps. Ingold?
I will fight until the last of my courage is spent.
That's right, Ingold. In order to avenge the sad fate of my friends, Barathant will be avenged, and if it is in my power to prevent the destruction of Gondor, I will do it. I had a bad feeling about Barathant, Ingold. Whew. Okay. Okay. Where are we headed next? Golly. But where we're going, there is no great route. Stable master, I guess. I'll just have to go back Stable master. Oh, more cowering men. My work is not done. All right. Oh. Right. The stable masters are not essential personnel. I'd forgotten. Oh dear. Okay. So we go the old-fashioned way. I had forgotten that. No problem. All the way up to the... Well, I'm glad that I set out to... What? There might be one from the main gate to the sixth circle. Well, I'm not going to risk it because I'm already halfway there, so... right. So we're going to... Oof. That was not good. Alright. Here's our ramp to the fourth. As we work our way up. Okay. Okay, we're on the fourth tier now. What are you doing hanging around here, dude? Citizen of Gondor bearing club in the middle of the Neath? Okay, right, fourth circle. There's this awkward corner. And then the ramp is on the other side, though not immediately. Aha, there it is. Entrance to that one I find really easy to miss. Okay. There was a bard there? Well, bards are obviously essential personnel. Nope, sorry, excuse me. Alright, we got to the lower Neath here. Oh. What's exploding in here? Should be tolerably well protected, I'd think. Did I miss it? Not yet. Alright, through up here and around the corner. Ooh, one of those flaming stones. Right, here's our ramp. Now back up to the master's tier and near the action. The action being where my quest arrows are taking me, my quest rings are taking me. Okay. Right. How's the healing coming into good use? Hey there, Rathon, Warden of the Wells. How can I help in the firefighting process?
Fire threatens to spread throughout the city.
The armies of Mordor have catapulted flaming stones into the city, and the fires threaten to spread. My men have set water buckets on each level, but there are simply not enough to go around. What, like, more than one bucket per level, right? If you can help put out the blazes before they spread, you would be doing the city a great service. Quickly, start here in the sixth circle and use one of the water buckets to put out the flaming stones, and then work your way down the city level by level. Oh. Okay. There will be water buckets near the ramps down from each circle, but they may not be near enough to the fires unless you hurry. Oh dear.
Go with my blessing, friend. We cannot fight both the fires and our foes at the same time. We must control the blazes before the enemy gets into the city. Okay. Alright. Undaunted, I shall take a bucket of water. So... Is there a flaming stone on this circle? I just carry on until... Oh, hang on. I see fire, and I have one small bucket of water. There we go, yeah. I almost missed it there, but that's okay. All right. One flaming stone. Okay, so down we go. That's not where we go down. Unless it is. Yeah, it was. Okay. All right. So there's fire number 6. I have to protest against this quest line. I'm just saying. Not that being part of Bucket Brigade in Minas Tirith is like a waste of time or something, because obviously it's a worthy cause, but still. Okay, I knew right where that one was. Okay. All right. I'm going to get a war question because this is going to be a while. Okay. Here's a fun Bill Stickers question. Fangor said he is the oldest. If he is older than the elves, and elves taught the Ents language, was Fangor mute as an ending? I love this question. Okay. People get really agitated by these two sayings, right? First, the saying, hey, wait, I'm not carrying a bucket. I don't have to walk. First, the saying of Celeborn when he calls Treebeard eldest. And then, of course, Tom Bombadil when he calls himself oldest and fatherless. You know, I've known many Tolkien readers who are inclined to treat this as like some kind of, inconsistency or something. I don't think so. And then, of course, there are issues like the one that Bill Stickers is pointing to. Okay, I just ran between them and didn't see a flaming stone here. I think that's... Oh, I do have a ring for it. Oh, that's handy. It's just past the ramp. Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, first of all, the comment that... So, one thing. It's just as far as Tom Bombadil is concerned, I don't think at all they mean the same thing when they're talking about being the oldest. Treebeard and Tom Bombadil are on quite different sort of orders of being. So the word is not meaningless as it's related to each one of them, but it relates to each of them in a different way. This does not seem in any way a contradiction. Tom Bombadil, when he calls himself oldest, what he is saying is he's talking about it in the context of Forlong.
This gets the blood flowing, does it not?
It puts me in mind of any number of great adventures, and I look forward to adding to my list of great deeds. Golasgill here does not share my enthusiasm, so I have resolved to have enough for the both of us. Let the enemy gain the wall, and we'll see how many of them it will take to wipe the smile off my face and the laughter from my lips. More than they've brought, I'll wager.
An air of doom hangs over the city, but Forlong does not seem to care.
Does he not realize that this night could spell the end for Minas Tirith and for Gondor? We are surrounded. The gate has never fallen, but there has never been an army on the Pelennor like the one that fills it now. I cannot explain Forlong's disposition. I cannot even understand it.
He's just a cheerful fellow. I don't know. I can understand it. I think he's great. Okay, next bucket. Anyway, so when Tom Bombadil talks about being eldest, oldest and fatherless, like that with that, so Tom Bombadil, you go back to his conversation, and Tom Bombadil is talking about how long he's been there in that spot, before the rivers and the trees, he says. So when Tom Bombadil says that he's oldest, right around the corner apparently, what he seems to mean is he's referring to the length of time he's been there at his spot in Middle-earth, and that's a really long time. But now I'm not going to get this bucket of water again. I'm going to get the next bucket of water. Okay. Yeah, anyway, but back to Celeborn and Treebeard, which was Bill Sticker's question. So when Celeborn calls Treebeard eldest, first of all, it's a form of address. Right? I do not know eldest, he says to Treebeard. What does that mean? So, notice that is not a logical claim. Celeborn is not, expounding on lore and saying, so let me explain. Treebeard is the oldest of all living things. He doesn't say that. He just calls him eldest. It's a sort of title that he gives him. In fact, it's very possible that he probably means Treebeard in particular, but it's possible that he is he might use that as a form of address to any end, right? I mean, I'm not saying he necessarily would, but you see what I mean? It has that kind of an uncertainty to it. Again, it's not a logical claim. It's a form of respectful address. Does that mean, when he calls him eldest, that he means that Treebeard is older than the elves? Does he even mean that Treebeard is older than himself? He's probably older than Celeborn. But again, is that absolutely implied by the by his use of that word, I don't see that. I don't see that is necessarily implied. He could be referring to, like, basically that when he's using that word of Treebeard, eldest, he could be implicitly saying, like, eldest of all of the non-elf, of, like footnote, apart from the elves, right? I mean, like, that absolutely could be consistent with his usage in such a case. Uh-oh. Duinhir. Have you seen your kids? Just asking.
It is good to see you making yourself useful, friend.
My sons wanted to charge out of the city and take on the enemy by themselves. Their hearts burn for battle, but I have set them to more reasonable tasks. When that great ball came down, trailing fire behind it, it took a large bite from the wall. For now my sons work to shore up the defenses and repair what they can. They grumble about it, but I know there will be fighting before the night is over. They will have their chance. I hope you will be ready as well when that time comes. It will not be long now, burglar.
Buck up, Duinhir. It's gonna be a long night.
Anyway, so often people get a little overexcited. Oh, am I done? Oh, I am done. There's no bucket down on the first tier, huh? Because the first tier just a lost cause at this point? From a firefighting standpoint? Okay, Dome of the Sun. So I am going the right way, aren't I? No, totally not. Absolutely just missed the... I'm glad I checked now rather than later. This is a danger, of course, of trying to answer lore questions while I'm running around the city. Okay. Now I can't remember what I was saying. It's pretty much one or the other, right? I can either navigate or I can talk in sentences that are strung together. Treebeard, eldest. So as I say, like, I think that a lot of people over agitate themselves about this line. It's just a form of address, and there's a lot of things he could mean by it. So does that form of address prove that Treebeard is older than Celeborn and older than all the Ents? No, I don't think it proves that. Is it possible? It is possible, but I mean, certainly Treebeard's... there are lots of reasons to believe that Treebeard is not, in fact, older than all of the elves. Certainly not older than the elves that awoke by Cuiviénen. And I say this because we are introduced... The story that we get on the creation of elves... of Ents, rather, is from the Aule and Yavanna chapter in the Silmarillion. And that chapter, like the context of that chapter, is explicitly about the Valar waiting, in Aule's case, impatiently waiting, for the arrival of the Firstborn, and of Ilúvatar saying to Aule that his impatience should not be rewarded. So, it's after that, it's in the context of that conversation that Ilúvatar and Yavanna have their conversation, which includes Yavanna's little Ent pitch, right? And... Nope, I'm stuck behind a bucket of spears. And going the wrong way. Okay, we're getting close though. Right, so he, that is Ilúvatar, made such a big point of the dwarves not waking up before the elves,
And yet, with Yavanna, he's going to be like, oh, but I don't mind so much for you, right? Yavanna, you're my favorite. So, you're like the other stepchildren of Iluvatar, right? Yours are going to, that's fine. They can wake up before the elves, right? That doesn't make any sense at all. So, given that the very context of the Ent origin story that he puts in the Silmarillion, which, by the way, is one of the last parts of the published Silmarillion to have been written. He, since the context of that is, right, Dome of the Sun, is that nobody should awake before the elves awake. I think it's explicit that the elves of Cuivianen are the first of those. And Treebeard is the eldest of the Ents. But he's the eldest of the Ents, but he is I'm getting out of your way, guys. Off you go. But he was clearly not alive prior to the elves of Cuivianen, and there's still some of them kicking around. So logically, he can't possibly be eldest in that sense. So whatever Celeborn means by that form of address, I don't think it's that. I think we can prove, as I've just been suggesting, that it isn't that. And as far as, like, are there elves of Cuivianen kicking around? In at least several versions of the story that were written after the Lord of the Rings, by the way, Círdan the Shipwright is one of them. That he's like an original elf. So, no, I don't think he would have been alive but not awake. It's the awakening, Phil. That's explicitly the issue with the dwarves, right? So yeah, I don't think alive but not awake is really an option there. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Edith, it is really uncertain precisely what the Ents are exactly. And they post-date some of Tolkien's contemplations of the orc problem. But that's a bigger question. Okay, Lamlor, what do we got?
Withered Tree has left us a message.
Okay, the siege is well and truly begun, Gryfflet. We must hope that our preparations were enough and that the gate stands strong. It should hold the enemies outside at bay for some hours, I hope, but it is the enemies within our walls that concern me right now. Look at the model of the city and the scroll that now decorates it. This message is the work of the Withered Tree. The end has come? That may be so, but I am going to ensure that the Withered Tree reaches its end before we do. Some member of that group gained access to the Dome of the Sun and committed this act while we were busy elsewhere. I am the Captain of Tidings, and I send forth errand riders throughout the city and to other parts of Gondor, but that is not my only title. I am also the spy master of Minas Tirith, and I know how a group like the Withered Tree operates. They must have gained some of the passwords for the upper circles of the city. Húrin must change the passwords, Gryfflet. But I don't think he can make them more secure. We have not used the current set for as long as usual, but in time of war, 3 hours may seem like days. Ask him for new passwords and give them to the guards at the gates in the upper circles. Then find members of the Withered Tree in the lower circles and make them cease their hateful whisperings. I will meet you in the first circle when you have proved successful. Okay, so Húrin is up here? Yes, he is. Okay. All right, Húrin, let's come up with some super secure passwords.
We must change the lesser passwords. It is time.
Okay. Right, you've already written a new set, have you? Show them to the guards and then destroy the parchment.
Okay, after the passwords have been set, Lamlor wants you to find members of the Withered Tree urging dissent in the lower circles. You will be able to recognize them, I suppose. They have become more brazen in recent days, and now that the siege has begun, I suppose they have nothing more to lose. They may be obvious to you now. Go with haste and remain loyal to the council and the steward. Okay. Oh, somebody came and wrecked it? They vandalized the nice model of the city? Man. Drosnik, I think that Gondor, Denethor, and Siege may very well be good passwords. That seems very likely. Seems very likely. All right. So, passwords at the gates. Mindful of the time. I got to end on time today. So, but I think I can get through. Okay, what's the password?
I believed we would soon need new passwords.
Okay, Flame of Victory, huh? Okay. All right. So that's better than the old one. Though it's going to be hard to be better than the old one here. I mean, come on. The fifth circle had the most secure password ever. So he has changed them to what? Has he changed them all to like 3-word passwords? Let's see. Okay, what's our new password?
The orcs of Mordor will not turn from this gate for the lack of the password.
Triumphant, huh? Still, I mean, look, I see what you're doing, Húrin, right? I mean, morale-raising passwords, having a mind of morale, it's not like it's a bad idea, right? I mean, who could really disapprove of attempting to raise the morale? But, you know, passwords not really designed to be primarily words of encouragement. You know, like it's not the number one function of passwords. But I guess if you're trying to defend against the Withered Tree in particular, I guess they'd be less likely to say it by accident. Certainly less likely than previously. So, yeah, I too think that billboards would be more useful for morale boosting, Edith. I mean, that makes a good deal of sense. I think I've passed it. Wait, hang on, am I done? At the gate of the Citadel? Kidding me. I was supposed to go to the Citadel first? Fine. 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 Let's do another lore question while we're running around. Man, the battle epic quests are far more tedious than oh, and I still got epic battles I have to do. Yeah, I'm never getting to the end of this today. Oops. Okay. Well, fine.
Bill Stickers says, the Entwives tended gardens with fruit and corn. I love it when we get like big batches of questions from Bill Stickers. The Entwives tended gardens with fruit and corn. What did they do with it if the Ents don't eat? Great question, because we only see them drinking, right? Their Ent drafts. And there's good reason to think that they do not eat at all. Remember Merry and Pippin having some lembas with their Ent draft just because they felt like eating was a necessary, part of breakfast, and not because they felt hungry. So yeah. Anyway, I think actually the answer to this is both really clear, but also a really important thing about Entwives in particular that's easy to forget. And that is that they cultivate food because they are supporting the life of other creatures. Remember Treebeard's comment Quickbeam's comment about the first thing that happened when he's talking about how times changed, his memories of the rowan trees and the fruit that they bore, and then he talks about the changing of times, and he eventually, of course, gets to talking about the orcs who came and cut down his trees. But right before that, he says that like the first sign that things were going bad were that these mean birds came and they tore the fruit from his rowan trees and threw it to the ground and did not eat it. Right? That is Quickbeam, seems offended by the fact that they the birds didn't eat the fruit. So that fruit is being provided for birds and beasts to eat is, I think, partially enough. And notice how this is sort of an extension, right? Here we go.
Already
Light of Hope.
password.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, it's a little on the nose, but again, it's fine. Okay, sorry if I'd gone in proper order. I'd already be down in the fourth circle. I can't blame them for this delay. Anyway, I'm just thinking about like how fruit trees actually work, right? And and other fruits. But fruits like strawberries, right, which can't even be effectively seeded unless birds eat the seeds and pass it through their droppings, right? That is actually a crucial part of the very life cycle of the plants themselves, and so it creates this idea, this sort of concept that trees and plants are purposing to provide food for beasts and birds, and even for humans and elves as well. And of course, we see an element of that very explicitly in Treebeard's story of the Entwives. The Entwives taught agriculture to humans. Humans were their friends. Sorry, I'm just looking at the quest ring in my mini-map. Oh, it's inside the Neath. I'm like, is it up on the prow? I was just wondering. Suddenly, couldn't help but be terrified I was going in the wrong direction again. Okay. All right. Now we're looking for suspicious customers. So yes, we also do know, and especially given their location, given the proximity of men on both sides of what is now called the Brownlands, there is every reason to believe that the Entwives were not only teaching agriculture to the human cultures near about, but were... Oh, hey, dude.
The steward is a fool! We will not die for him!
Somehow I can't imagine you're going to end my tale, dude. He's calling me a traitor? Look, I can understand a difference in ideology here, but calling the one who is fighting for the city a traitor of the city when you're trying to get people to stop fighting for the city, just it's odd. That's odd. Oh, that guy with the club lurking in the Neath. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, it's got to be him. Yeah. Yeah, this dude.
What is this world coming to?
No.
This is intolerable.
Okay. You find it intolerable, but since I already fought somebody on this tier, I have no quarrel with you? Okay. Same thing with you.
What is this world coming to?
Can there be any hope? But of course you see what they're setting up there, right? Can there be any hope? Can there be any Estelle in Gondor? Estelle is on the way. It's a play on words that never gets old. That concept of naming Aragorn Estelle in his youth, I mean, you know, the payoff is rich, abundant, varied, and prolonged.
There is no hope for us. The council and the steward have failed.
Right, and doomed this city to fall. Can you not hear the harsh cries from beyond the walls? We should have listened to the Withered Tree and cast these leaders from the highest level of Minas Tirith. Perhaps then we would have been spared. You think? Like, walk me through how that would work out, you think? I mean, would the army not have attacked? If you want to criticize leadership for ineffective preparations or something, that makes sense, you know? Like, I'm not saying they're necessarily guilty of such a thing. You know, many of them seem to be doing what they can. Denethor has issues, admittedly. I mean, there are concerns there, but still, to say maybe the army outside the walls would evaporate if we didn't have the leaders that we have, that just seems a little strange. Seems a little strange. I mean, I get it. People aren't really rational when they're terrified, but still.
The host of Mordor will spare us if we open the gates.
You think? The orcs only want the steward and the council? That's... Okay. So on the one hand, that's less irrational than the last dude, right? I mean... it's very implausible, obviously, that the orc army is just going to go away once that happens, but still, it makes more sense than, you know, if we had gotten rid of the leaders, they wouldn't be attacking now at all. Whoa, sorry, excuse me, pardon me. Okay. Okay, down to the gates. Hang on, can I do this? Wait a second. If I hit my milestone, is that going to send me out to... Is that going to send me out to before the battle starts? Right, it would take me to the wrong version. Yeah, I just thought of that at the last second. Okay, yeah, I don't want to do that. What I'm looking for is a shortcut, not a long cut. Oop. Took a wrong turn. Okay. We'll get to the front gate, and that will be a good place to end for today. Okay. Well, this place is looking less crowded. The Merit Committee is still standing here? Really? That's dedication. So, nobody gonna defend the gates then?
Supporters of the Withered Tree are both disloyal and foolish.
Fair. Totally fair assessment, Lamlor. Can you believe they will find mercy in the armies of Mordor? I know, right? Like, it's, yeah, disloyal and foolish both. Agreed. Okay. Talk to Prince Imrahil. What are these dudes? Builders Fellowship? Smith's Fellowship? They're not sending me on repeatables, are they? Anyway, not going to worry about it. It is perfect timing. Here I am, down at the gates, having finished my running around quest, or at least those running around quest. Next time will be epic battles. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Here we stand. Okay. So next time, epic battles. Who knows? Maybe we'll get through the epic battles and get to the end of this next time. I'd forgotten about the epic battles, so it was a little unrealistic to think I'd do it today. I also forgot exactly how much running around there was. Thanks, everybody. So I'm not going to be here next week. I'm going to be away with my family, but I should be back the week after. There might be a thing happening, but I'm not sure. I think I'll be here on the Friday afterwards. There are going to be some other disruptions through the summertime travel and all that kind of thing. But I'll be here with you whenever I can. Thanks for joining me today, and stay tuned for Druid's Fire. See you guys soon. Bye now.
Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.